conference will now be recorded.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What? John, I just thought, a while ago, when I call for votes and stuff, but boy, there's some reflections down there on that far end of the table down there.
Got my rocker on.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Marion County Commission, March 22nd, 12:31 almost. Get into agenda approval. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add? If not, move to administrative business. We'll turn it over to Tina.
Okay, let's see. In your packet, you have some information on 2 proposed road closures that are scheduled for hearing on April 5th. And I gave this to you now so that you can go out ahead of time and take a look at the area if you're not familiar with it. Because I was not planning the commission to go out there together and look at it. So if you could look at it before. Now, if you needed me to change that, we can go look at it before, but there's two portions there. So that's why that's in your packet.
No, I don't understand, Commission. She went with us one time before out there to this location, so I don't know whether she wants to not go again. She got her feet dirty the last time, so. No.
Now, I don't have a problem going out there.
If
It's just
anybody'd like the commission to get together there at that location for anything, we can do that if you need to. So if you look at it and feel that we need to, please speak up at some time. So
okay.
there's no problem otherwise. Go ahead, Tina.
All right, in your packet, you also have the current resolution that covers controlled burns, and so I put that in your packet for information because that you have that on the agenda today for a potential change. So I wanted to make sure you have the current one. So the first thing I have here are the minutes of March 15th.
I move to approve the minutes, March 15th.
Second. I have a motion by Dave Mueller to approve the meetings of March the 15th. 15th. Yes, it is 15th that we approved that. And second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign for no. It's unanimous. 5-0.
Reminder that you do have a strategic planning session tomorrow at 12:30. It's scheduled 12:30 to 4:30 here in this room. So.
I told Tina I have a commitment at 2:45, so I will be departing at 2:45.
Okay.
Is that Zoom or they're gonna be here in person?
It'll be in person, but I will have
Between people in WSU?
that she'll be here.
Okay.
Yeah. But other people will we'll have the remote attendance
Yeah.
option at this meeting, so, because we're here in this area, so. We had, some salary sheets.
This is from County Appraiser Tina Steele, a new administrative assistant hired at $21.13 a month. This is on the next, I don't know, this next Gerald Bender from the Park and Lake, and this is on what we took action on is
Yes, there's another batch of what you already took action on, some of those equalizations.
equalization, board action for equalization pay, and be from $2,065 a month to $2,076 a month. I think the rest of them are all that too, probably.
Yeah.
That board action for equalization. This is for Larry Beck from $29.11 a month to $29.36 a month. Laurel Weedle from $26.61 to $26.83.
Did I give these to you?
They don't make it around the horn anymore.
Yeah. Gotta come back up the horn. It's a trumpet now, it's not a bugle, not a reverse bugles.
Okay, a couple weeks ago, we had a correction on some vacation time that had not been added in the ambulance department. And since that time, we've gone back through and checked some of the other January accruals, and we have another one that is an administrative correction. This is for Larry Larson in the ambulance department, and one of these accruals was missed, so he will be over after we make the correction by 37.25 hours, which he would need to use. So we would need board approval to extend the time to use those hours.
Is the employees not seeing this or not following us or what?
Maybe not, but some departments, you know, the way their schedule is, they may or may not use vacation time very often,
Yes,
so.
yes, and that could be a case of that,
Right,
as they switch and
right.
stuff. Yeah.
Most of the other departments are gonna notice pretty
Okay.
easily.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I watch mine, so.
Right.
How much time did we give on the last one? Was it 90 days or 120?
I believe it was 90 on the EMS one last
I
time.
think so too.
You gave 120 days for the sheriff's office a couple
Oh, that was
times
sheriff's
ago.
office. I was
Yes,
gonna
they
say
were
it was 6
pretty
months.
backed up, you know.
Okay. I'd make a motion to do the same with this one, due to corrective action that was missed. 3 months, 90 days for the 37.25 hours.
Second.
Second by Kent Becker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, thank you. I'm not quite sure why our system has such a struggle with them, but anyway. We have lots of notes to check that next year, so hopefully. Okay, so there was that.
Well, I personally am not real proud of the way our county system is anyway. I mean, everybody should be by the first year, in my opinion. And when you have all these different dates of everybody, I don't see how you can run a system and do it. So it works, but to me, it's a lot easier if it's by the first of the year. We all know that.
Well, now, you know, nobody earns any or has any vacation to use during their first year either. And so that was one thing that when we had the pay plan back the last time, that was a recommendation that they said that might be something to consider changing to where everybody starts off with a certain amount, or they get a certain amount to use during the year, you know. So there are options of changing how we're doing things,
Right.
if that's something the
Right.
board wants to do, but. Okay. I do have a shared leave request, and this is in the sheriff's department, and the employee is qualified for it. So if the board wants to review any of that, we can go into executive session. Otherwise, if you're comfortable with it, if you just would take action to approve a shared leave request for a qualified employee in the sheriff's department, that would be great.
Which means that the shared leave can be put out to other employees to.
Yes, that's right.
That's what we talked about
Yep.
a couple weeks ago, wasn't
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, correct. I would make that motion have an employee in the sheriff's department be eligible for shared leave. I guess that's my motion. There a second?
Second.
Second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Same sign if they're opposed. Didn't see none yet.
Okay,
No?
thank you. All right.
No, it's fine.
And I do have a written
That's okay.
COVID
State
update from
required.
Deidre.
It's up.
Okay.
As of 7:30 this morning, we were at 648 positive confirmed PCR cases, 374 probable, 4 active, and 3 hospitalizations as of March 19th in 24 vital statistic confirmed deaths. We remain in the green with a rolling 14-day positivity rate through March 13th of 4.7%. This week, vaccination clinics are as follows. 115 booster doses, March 24th at the Hillsborough City Building. On March 26th, there will be 24 boosters given in the office of the Health Department, 78 boosters at Tabor, and between Gossel and Peabody schools, they will administer 90 booster doses to complete individuals in phase 2. On Tuesday, March 23rd, approximately 20 prime and booster doses will be administered in the Health Department office with individuals in phase 3 and 4. Clinics listed will be run like immunization clinics and are not considered a pod. The last scheduled pod is 400 booster doses on April 7th at Tabor. The pod for Wednesday, March 17th, it was 201 booster doses were administered. Wednesday afternoon, 31 prime doses were administered, 25 of which were at Cottonwood Grove, including phase 2 individuals. Vaccine has been distributed to Hillsborough Hospital and St. Luke Clinic for administration. And she again thanks the hospitals, volunteers, and other businesses that have assisted with the pod. A very special thank you to those volunteering their own time for the pods in the immunization clinics. Thank you to the county commissioners for their assistance in allowing other county offices to assist. She says they're working on an online scheduler connected to their electronic health records, which would allow individuals to schedule their appointments online. And she said she's been in touch with Isaac and has the Lake Hall Reserve starting March 30th and every Tuesday in April and May to conduct vaccination clinics. Deidre says she submitted aid to local grant last Monday morning for $185,056.08, which included COVID-19 ELC expanding infrastructure grant of $159,148 and also included public health emergency preparedness grant of $14,709.04, which is, she says that figure is not yet set and they used last year's figure to apply. So that's what she sent.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? With no comments that I hear from anybody, there's only one good comment, that we have a commissioner up here that took a hold, and that's you, Dave Crowfoot. Appreciate you sort of, spending a little extra time and doing that and keeping the rest of us in line, so thank you. Plus the rest of the volunteers that was at those clinics too, thank you.
And they're gonna be taking names at the health office if you wanna get on the list for some of these pods.
Okay.
Not pod, clinics, there's a
Clinics?
for the next 2 months.
Is that how we're
So-
gonna get it out to the public now? I mean, is clinics, is that what?
That's
Yeah.
what she's saying, yes.
So they're no longer any pods?
No, there are still
One-
some.
One more,
One in April.
On the 24th? 7th.
7th of April.
Okay.
It's 400 people.
I think that's the one my wife was coming up to, I think she should give herself a shot on that.
Okay. One other thing to consider with the new funding that was passed by the federal government, we are offering COVID leave to our employees, like if they have to be quarantined or if they're off because of sickness or caring for a family member. And that was mandatory last year, and then it became voluntary back in, I think, September, October, and you all went ahead and extended it for Marion County to continue doing that through March 31st. So we're getting close to that time frame. There's a renewal of that within this new funding package. However, it's not mandatory again, so it's still voluntary. And I just wanted to check with the board to see if you're okay with us extending that through September to do it the same way we have been, or if you want to make a change to that and not offer it after March 31st.
We don't have to act upon this today, but if the commission wants to, that's our choice. But if you do want to act upon it, that's.
What about going to December 31st?
Well, this act only approves it until September, the end of September.
That's because, that's just funding. Funding is still done.
Yeah, I think that's the federal fiscal year is through, it ends on the end of September and a new one starts October 1st.
I'd be in favor as long as there's funding for it.
Now, right now, we're not being reimbursed. Because that, we did that through the Spark money, and that's, you know, we've been doing it not being reimbursed since the Spark money's been gone.
How big an issue is that at the present time?
Not very big,
That's what I thought.
yeah. Yeah, at the time that the Spark funding ended, that's when I asked you about continuing it, and you all decided to go ahead and continue offering it.
When you say not a big deal, Tina, numbers wise, are we talking, do we have 5 employees off a month? Do we have on COVID now, or do we have, you know, being quarantined, or do we, that's the numbers we're talking about, right?
Right.
If they was off for 10 days?
I have to get that for you. I don't have that right now, but our numbers are a lot lower now than they have been in the
Cool.
past, so.
Cool.
Yeah, I think we need to keep doing it because we don't want them to come to work sick.
We do still get a discount on the FICA taxes, like, so we don't have to pay FICA on those sick leave wages. So that is the one benefit, you know, that we still have through the federal government. And depending on how this funding comes through, and we would potentially be able to reimburse the county for those wages, but I don't know any of the rules on the funding yet.
It's not like I don't trust our employees, but at some point in time, that could get abused.
Well, we're asking for documentation, I believe, from the departments.
As long as there's funding for it. I know Blue Cross and Blue Shield sent out a thing the other day. I don't know if it applies to our plan here, but they're changing how they treat the COVID situations too. So,
Right.
So if there's less hurt on the employee is probably best. So if there's funding for it, that's what
Right.
my mind is.
Right. Okay. General fields, anybody care to hit Dave?
Yeah, I'd move to go ahead and continue the leave, COVID leave through September 30th.
Okay, have a motion to continue the COVID leave through September 30th.
I would second that.
Second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, thank you. And what Jonah was talking about, it does apply to our plans here. So Blue Cross Blue Shield initially was covering all the COVID treatment and testing, I believe at 100%. And we just got notice that they're not gonna be doing that anymore. And you need to be sure to go through your preferred network providers for those services to avoid paying high costs, so.
And just for the general public, I mean, I think I got a special deal from Big Cat down there, but rental assistance too is a program coming out. There is a phone number you can call for rental assistance. You do have to do a lot of paperwork. The landlord has to do some paperwork, stuff like that. But if it's due to COVID, so I just want the general public to know about it, because I mean, it's a different program, but it's being set up and there
Skid is
is.
also handling that.
Yeah.
Yeah, SCED's promoting it. We have the information on our website and some brochures printed off in the hallway.
It's on the website.
So,
Good, good.
okay, that's all I have.
Okay, that was short. Josh Osmond with Wheaton, HHW, Transfer Station Recycling. We ought to put another title on it. Oh, noxious weeds. Well, yeah, there we go.
All right, I'm here. I know I'm a little late on our annual weed eradication progress report. Basically just talks about what we've sprayed. Tells the state we gotta send it in. Just have you guys sign it. Tells them what we've sprayed or what chemicals we sold, their prices, and you know where we spent our money at and stuff. So. If you want to look at it, can. The second page needs, would be the one to sign. And then I have our annual report on there, just tells them what we're looking at doing throughout the year, kind of what I've got planned and hopes to do. And there's some training stuff in there too that I'd like to work on with the farmers and stuff. So.
This is just for weeds, correct?
Yes, sir.
Not just weeds.
Are the problems getting worse, better, about the same?
They kind of stay the same.
Okay.
You know, we're trying to find new ways to help the farmers.
Sure.
You know, you're never going to eradicate them.
Right.
You're going to be able to reduce them.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking at, different ways of helping reduce them.
Good.
So.
Good.
I know you haven't been in this position very long, but what about railroads and Johnson grass and stuff? What, that's an ongoing pain every year. Santa Fe, Burlington Northern down there, they seem to do pretty good through the
Yeah.
body, but
They normally have their own crew that goes
Yeah.
through and sprays and stuff. I see some, but, you know, contacted and said, well, where I sprayed in that area, so we're not gonna get back and do it. So.
KDOT's the one that's dropped the ball.
Who?
KDOT.
Yeah.
56 and 50 are just loaded with
Mhm.
Johnson.
yeah.
Want to work a little more with them guys. I know there's other counties.
But I don't, do they have a spraying program?
They're supposed to follow our rules, the Kansas pesticide laws, the weed laws, just like everybody else. But it's whether that district
You know,
really
I
wants
noticed
to.
it really this last year, especially 50, so well, and
Yeah.
50's got it too.
Yeah.
Between here and Hillsborough, it's terrible.
Yeah. So I want to talk with them. I want to
Yeah.
do a little more with those guys and
Yes.
see if we can't get them revved up to doing. I know last year was the COVID and.
The production of seed off of that stuff is
Mhm.
horrific.
Yeah, most of it grows by rhizomes and stuff. You see that rhizomes underneath keep growing underneath too.
Johnson grass does.
Yes. Yeah, that's their main source. You know, they do have to produce a lot of seeds and they kind of help spread it, but if it starts in one area, it just grows. Those rhizomes grow and grow.
It'd be
and
nice
get
if we could get some, you would get your report. It'd be nice if KDOT, the railroads could provide us a report for our
Mhm.
county. what
Do you
they've
ever,
done.
do you ever give them a violation notice to KDOT?
I can, but I don't. But you know, last year was the first year. You know, I've even talked with the Corps of Engineers, and there's a few spots they had to spray.
Yeah.
They got on it. The Fish and Game talked with them, and he rambled off a list of everything they've been spraying areas. So they're doing their job. So this.
That's, in our small towns and small areas, it's tough to, you know, to
Mhm.
get people to get on that because.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. Now, that stuff I used from you last year really did a good job, but I was wondering whether it does what kills what you just was talking about.
It's supposed to get down to the rhizomes.
Okay.
The glyphosate doesn't. It kills what's on top.
Yeah.
And it keeps coming back year to year. The glyphosate it'll knock it down. Or not the glyphosate, plateau will knock it down really good.
And it works on that rhizomes down underneath?
Yes.
Okay, well, it did. I'm anxious to see what comes up this year, spring there, before I
Mhm.
spray.
Yep.
I got a bigger area to work on the whole area infested with it, so.
Mhm.
And when was this report due?
It was due last week.
Last week?
But last week I was in school and I did pass the basic weed blast.
Cool,
So.
cool. I bet you this is not the first one.
No, we're not the only county that's.
No.
Is the availability gonna be good due to COVID and all that?
Yeah, I should, you know, next week I'm hoping to get the chemical bids in, so we will find out more about, you know, the cost on that, so.
Some of these areas that have been so bad with Sarisa, not ours, but the landowners, has there been any action on any of that stuff, do you know?
A lot of them, you know, last year would come in and talked about even doing the horse spray, and a lot of them got on it and sprayed, and they're really, you know, that kind of kicked them in and got them going. But everybody's been spraying and doing a good job. Just a few other ways that, you know, I'd like to try with a few farmers to do something different to help reduce that.
You get a copy of this too?
Yeah, I'll take a copy of it. So generally, I believe the board approves that by motion.
Yes. Yep, what I'm getting ready to do here.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the annual noxious weed eradication progress that Josh has ready to turn in here. That's my motion. Second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Just gonna pass the signature sheet back. I'll pass the rest of it to Tina.
There's one more on the very back.
Okay,
too.
they're back.
That's for the annual report.
Is that for the plan?
That's for the plan.
Tina, could you provide us a copy online? Or
Sure.
electronic copy?
Sure.
Thank you. It's kind of a quick read.
Right.
I kind of took a little more time.
Oh, so that's fine. Other questions been asking, so that's good. Copy of that, and that way I can scan it off and get it to them.
I'll just have my staff do it real quick.
Okay.
What else do you have, Josh?
The bids for the transfer station for the trailer. There should be a copy for everybody.
While we're gonna look at these, what is the situation with our trailers and trailer repair now that we?
I've got one with the front pan that's down that we're trying to get it straightened out and fixed so we can get it back going. We had a few problems with some hydraulic hoses blowing, but we think we got that found out, figured out, and got it corrected. So.
With this, if we approve this bid today or so, what will you keep for trailers? Will you keep 5 or 4? What are you keeping, and what's the outlook?
I don't know if we approved it, I thought about almost go ahead and just patch the other trailer up and kind of have it set back for a spare in case, you know, something happened or we needed it, or, you know, somebody, you know, the
Okay.
road bridge needed to borrow it, we could, at least we had a spare.
Is this Stepco what we've been buying, or is this
The,
a different company?
The Stecco is what we've been buying. We've actually got both of them. We've got the Wilkins and the Stecco.
Okay.
They're a ways out, aren't they?
Yeah. The Wilkins, they said be the first or second week of September. They've got another company that's gonna put in a bunch of bids, or they're doing bids on trailers, and they said if they get it, they're looking at January or February of next year before we even see the trailer.
Is there a difference between the two?
What I've
Besides
seen,
price?
what I've seen is the Stecco seems to hold up a little better than the Wilkins does.
So the cheaper one's better, is what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
We have budgeted for a new trailer, haven't we?
Yes.
But that's some interesting information. If you're looking at January, February next year, and budget's right around the corner,
Yeah.
I don't know where we set. I'm relying on Josh to tell me where we set to keep a good stock of trailers. I mean, that's how we gotta have good trailers, and we gotta have workable, and we gotta do something. So just keep that in mind. That when do we order for next year? I mean, if they're already, the company's looking at January. So.
That's not something you're gonna buy used, because they're all shot.
Yeah.
We
that's-
did pick up we have bought one before, Ken, but it worked, it was in pretty good shape. I don't know where it come from or why, but we have done that before.
That's
It's been a while.
I can say it might have been before.
Yeah. What would that, can we do that, Tina, put an order in for 2022? If we budgeted for
You,
2022?
no, you can't, you would have to budget it this year because you can only approve based on your budget now. So once you make an approval, you're committed out of current year budget. So you would have to wait, and if you wanted to do it in January, you know, you could budget it and then approve it in January of 2022 to be out of the 2022 budget. But if you make an order now, approve an order now for 2022, then you have to encumber those monies. You have to have enough budget authority in this year's budget to cover both of them.
Even if we decide to use funds from somewhere else? Not a budgeted order?
Well,
Sales tax or
everything's
something?
under,
Can you use sales tax?
we don't have that kind of sales tax.
Yeah, I mean, we collect in general, don't we?
Yeah, we do, but we have it designated for certain things. You've budgeted that out already. You don't have a lot of extra sales tax money sitting there, so.
I'm just asking.
Well, either way, no matter which way you do it and where you fund it from, if you approve it in this budget year, you have to have funds allocated out of this budget year. So even if it's in the general fund, those sales tax monies still show up on our budget.
We just have to cash
So
forward.
it'll just be a 2021 expenditure in 2022. I mean, if we approve it now, it's gotta come out of this budget.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Even if we don't take delivery till.
Yeah, but I think what Randy's trying to get at is
He's trying to
to
get the
ordering
second
one for
trailer.
next year's budget, like, to make sure we don't have to wait a whole year to get it,
You're
so.
talking about the second one then?
Yeah,
The
second one,
one.
yes,
And
yes,
I
yes.
think that part of it is because of COVID and the shortage of materials, probably, because it's never used to take us a year to get one.
No,
That, in that company, like I said, they said that they had another company, and they're putting a big order in. And so if they get it, it would take up that long, that's how many trailers they would.
which one was that?
The Wilkins.
Wilkins?
The Stecco, it says 20 to 22 weeks out. So it'll be about August.
6 months.
which is about what we usually
Yeah.
see. So,
3 to 6. Okay.
So we should order one first week of January next year.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
Well, as long as they keep it,
The steel prices are doing right now.
that's another.
You might want to commit to this.
but we can't.
You can't.
well, there's nothing saying you can't order 2 of them now.
Correct, correct, that's, yeah, if we had the funds, but we don't know where the transfer station budget is and stuff like that.
Oh. We just deposited a $108,000 reimbursement into their fund, so
From that dirt.
we would maybe have to republish their budget for them to have authority to spend that, but.
Okay. Okay, well, just some thoughts, is all it was.
2 of them cheaper than one.
I never did ask
We didn't
him. I,
ask that.
you know, I was looking at one and
Might be worth quite,
Yeah.
worth
Add
asking.
another 5% or something.
Maybe. Any other thoughts?
I'm just looking at it because, you know, the steel prices are doing right now, so.
Yeah.
Do we need to get this one on order today? So we don't-
How long is the bid held for?
30 days.
30 days.
When did you get?
the 16th last week.
16, so we got to the 16th of next month, roughly.
I mean, somebody just slipped in and ordered 20 trailers on us,
Well, yeah.
pushed back another 2 months.
Concerned about pricing, so.
If steel continues to do what it has done in the last.
You wanna check on what 2, if there's any discount? Okay.
I can check on it.
Bring it back to us and just say, see what happens.
Okay.
You got a salesman you're dealing with?
Yeah, there's a couple of them. I'm dealing with one from each company, so.
Okay. I don't think you need to bring the other companies back myself.
Do you want me to just check with
Unless
the
unless the
Stetco?
unless the board wants to do it.
Not with the difference in price.
Would you be willing to bring out the bids for the
Okay.
electronic attendees, please?
Yeah, I didn't do that yet, but I will. Steel live floor, this is out of Arkansas, Paragould, Arkansas. Their trailer is $60,792. Freight to Marion is $1,300. And total price is $62,092. And then they require 10% deposit required. The other trailer that we have bid here is Wilkins, and they are out of Stockton, Kansas. And their price is $79,995, good for 30 days, terms 10% down. So you're looking at 62 versus 79.
80, basically.
Yeah.
62 versus 80.
Yeah, it's supposed to 80. We've already accepted one. We've got that already taken care of. You bring it back and see if we would go for the second one then.
Okay.
And that gives the board some time to think about it, whether it's.
So you didn't take any action,
No,
so
we
when
haven't
you say
taken-
you've accepted one,
We haven't
what have you
taken
done?
action on the one.
Oh, it's just in the budget.
Oh, okay, okay, gotcha, I understand now, sorry, I wasn't sure what you meant.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd make the motion to go with steel live floor trailer out of Arkansas, Paragould, Arkansas, K&N Holdings Stetco Incorporated for $62,092, unless next week they come back and offer us a deal on 2. We can change that. That'd be my motion.
I'll second.
Second by Kent. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Unanimous. I know, would, let them know we're gonna order one, but if they do see what they'll do for 2. Did you get that? You got that?
Yeah, I have that.
Everybody's got a copy. Are you with us, Josh?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Check on,
Second trailer.
check on the second trailer.
Right. And
And-
it gives us to decide for commission too, whether we should go ahead and look to republish maybe the budget or 2.
So I'm gonna hold off on having you sign this until we
Okay.
hear back next week.
All right.
Okay. And I told you about I did pass my basic weed school loss. So, that's
With flying colors?
with fine colors.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. Well, it's a major step. That's good.
He keep
Anything else?
That's it.
Thanks.
So how was the trash business?
It's still trashy.
Is it picking up or
It
it
is.
seems like it?
Yeah, that spring's picking up a little more. People are doing.
It's always busy when I go by there.
Yep. Yep, and they're all doing a good job and stuff, and trying to get them out doing more, cleaning up, picking up trash and that stuff.
That east side, is there any way to get that packed or get that, some more rock on there or something?
We got more rock in, towards the end of last week. and
That
then-
must just keep falling in.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're trying to get it all spread out to where it needs to be. So,
You said the east side, Ken. Are you talking about east of the building?
Yeah, east of the building.
Okay.
It's really muddy in there.
yeah.
I had a report about the west side, the ramp,
Mm-hmm.
the other day of a person in two-wheel drive trying to back a trailer up until he put it in four-wheel drive up that ramp on the west side in the rock. He said if I wouldn't have four-wheel drive, he said with that trailer load back there and backing it in, you don't know that he'd have made it. So that was just a report, and I said, was it pretty slick? He said, yeah, it was slick because I was in the rain and stuff and in the mud.
The gravel's loose.
Well, I don't know if it's that or, I don't know.
If it had rained, I could see it being a little slimy or, just the rocks get wet and they do get slick too, so.
Mhm. What's your feeling that we need to put something together for the long-term plan to hard surface that or?
It'd probably be an idea, but,
You have to put rumble strips the whole way though.
yeah, kind of like the boat ramps do, to help keep a little traction, but, I don't know if that's something to get with Bryce and talk with him and, kind of get a plan on, but, too, so.
Okay. Just asking, anything else down there that's going on?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. I need to get back and revisit, because I want to see how much trash is going down in the pit
Mm-hmm.
and see what that, and then I've seen some things over there around the doors on the south side that, not that none of the operators, I don't think could help because of the track of the door hangs down there where we wanted a wide spot and the engineer did not deliver it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's got damage, and I think that's due to the bucket, and I don't think anybody can do anything about it. It's just one of the things that happens.
Yeah.
But maybe the steel project to lay some steel in along that whole south side to where we make that wider and have an abutment there where it's straight along that side.
Mhm.
I think that would be probably the thing we need to look at. Any ideas? I'm asking.
Yeah, and we've talked about, a ramp from that door where, people can throw in on them south side of those doors. You build a metal ramp where they throw it in and it slides and it gets it away from that door too.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I see you angle it down
Mhm.
where it comes, it sort of drops.
Yeah. Okay.
But you can't have it sticking out because the same thing would happen
Mm-hmm.
as that garage door track.
Yes.
That backhoe bucket would hook it in.
Mm-hmm.
And then, how about the compactor? We need to get that jaw off of there. I mean, that's tearing things up.
Okay. Okay.
And have you been a place and seen the round compaction plates that they're using?
I haven't seen those, no, I have not.
And I think they're building them by hand, I really do.
Okay.
They're just putting it on, it's a swivel deal. Of course, you lose it, you don't have the thumb,
Mm-hmm.
but I've had an operator that's done it with them and just loves them, so.
Okay.
I'd definitely like you to take a look somewhere, call somebody, see where they bought it from. I think maybe Emporia has them, and
Okay.
I don't know what the person uses it.
They was just using a bucket kind of like we was using, so. Okay.
That's all I got.
All righty.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Mr. Bryce, you on today or are you up here today?
Office door was closed.
Oh, he's here.
Yes, that's kind of fun. I had to give Josh static for running late since everybody else gives me static for running late.
Uh-huh.
You'll run late.
Huh?
You'll run late.
No, but what I'm saying is I was supposed to be in here at 1 o'clock and it gave me 15 minutes. It's either been between 10 minutes or an hour. So every time I walk out, I'm like, so. All right, afternoon. I want to say it's a good afternoon because I'm tired of this stuff falling from the sky. I realize it's needed for the agriculture and stuff to that effect, but it is absolutely creating havoc for us. As far as this last week, we didn't really get a lot of stuff done. A lot of guys took off some leave and stuff, just can't take care of the roads, can't haul much rock unless there's a decent road. And we've been receiving lots of phone calls, but we're taking care of them as we go. So not much going on there. So I do have a couple things. Working with the bridge on 170th and Goldenrod, that was that local bridge improvement program. Been working with this, it's actually Husker Steel has been one who we're working with, and they contract with Norfolk Contracting to build that bridge. They come back with an official proposal for that. And so looking for commission approval, whether you want to sign it, me to sign it, whatever else. What they're saying is $267,522 would take out the old bridge, put in a 24.5 foot by 70 foot long steel beam bridge with some guardrails or a minimum guardrails on either side. This program has a lot of design exceptions that we can do, obviously cut down the cost. So then we could sign it whenever. The only thing they're asking for is approval because the price of steel is going crazy right now. They're saying as much as 25% per month. And so if we sign this, they will hold these to the prices, and then they talk about, well, if they add or subtract piles, it's all in here too. So what the county they would take care of the removal of the existing bridge, the dirt work for the abutment and wings for the new bridge, build a new bridge. They asked the county to pay for the concrete simply because there can be a lot of variability in that. But I mean, we're talking less than 50 yards, say $150 a yard, be $7,500, not much considering. And then the county would do the final backfilling and final grading, and then we would do traffic control, which traffic control is pretty simple, just shutting the road down.
So our total cost then, looking at?
Well, would be the 267 plus the concrete. So, and that out of that total cost is it's supposed to be 150% max from the federal government, 150,000. Sorry. So we'd have roughly 120 to 130,000. It's pretty tough to say exactly what it would be. And this is this also takes care of a fracture critical bridge down there. It's only 16 feet wide. So believe it or not, we're going to raise this bridge up several feet, make it longer, and according to the Cottonwood River drainage basin and stuff to that effect, we're still only going to have about a 7 or 8 year drainage flood underneath there. So in order to bring it up into the 25, 50 year range, we'd have to raise it up probably a good 10 feet. And it's just, it's crazy. I mean, it's a dirt road all the way through there and farm access. So, but this will be better. I mean, they're saying we're probably in a 3-year flood now as far as the.
What location?
It's south of 170, between 160th and 170th on Goldenrod. It's a steel truss bridge right now. It's about a 16-foot roadway through there. So.
Nobody lives on that though.
Yes, they coming off 170th. It's rock down about a quarter mile. There's a house on the west, and then after that it goes down into where the bridge is and dirt road the rest of the way. But like I said, traffic control still be pretty easy, just barricades and so. But like I said, that's one of the real, and based on what they're telling me, they'd still get it done yet this summer. So even better than going through all the other. we've already started the process of the permits and stuff like that. So those are all taken care of.
Did we give this vote yet? Have we ever voted on this?
We did way back when it was first announced, and that was just based on my submittal of the budget. I don't have that with me, but so.
I'm just asking for the feasibility of it, all I'm asking for.
Well, it's one of the things where, you know, the two problems with the bridge is you can't hardly get any implements across there, let alone tractors. Plus, it's a fracture critical bridge. So if something happens to it, the whole thing goes down. We're trying to do whatever we can to get rid of those. So the other thing that we looked at is, again, with the Cottonwood River Basin, it's almost impossible to go back and put our railroad cars and stuff like that in there because they just have so much debris with them. Same reason why we took them out up on 300 and 310th. So,
How many miles does this cause somebody to go around?
well, it'd be 4 miles that you could just go around the section, assuming it was dry. You know, like I said, this is a dirt road, but during harvest is the big thing. You know, going north and south out of there.
As, of course, Dave, was you aware of this since you've been a commissioner? Location?
Yes.
You was, okay, so, okay,
Yeah, we've talked about it several times.
okay. You've seen the importance of the location then?
Yes.
Okay.
Are most of our fracture critical on dirt roads?
I do, excuse me, I do know there's another one up north that's on a dirt road. There's this one. Another one that we're getting rid of is the one we have the contract with BG on, the 230th and Eagle. That's another fracture critical. And we have one other one. I'm trying to remember where that one is at. Don't remember.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if, are we prioritizing dirt over gravel, gravel over dirt, or just
honestly,
project by project?
Project by project, because basically what we're looking at is, and this is what the state's looking for, state and federal money is for, is to get rid of those fracture critical bridges. Typically, I would imagine this was probably built in the 50s or 60s. Back then, it sufficed everything that's going across, our combines, trucks, whatever else. Well, now a tractor would do is hardly can make it across right now, let alone an implement.
Yeah.
And structural, I think that's what it's a 5 or 10 ton rating right now. So that's the other thing, is going across there with equipment. It's just it's an accident waiting to happen. You just don't know if and when down the road. So,
But I think my point of view, and I think Kent's point of view right now, is just how do we put a priority number on these? I mean, there could be 50 more come up and, okay, we gotta do it because we did this.
yeah.
That's not my point. My point is, we gotta have some value to spend for a bridge, and I'm
Yeah.
just asking.
Where's this one rank on your, does it rank at the worst?
I think it's one of the 10 worst. I couldn't tell you exactly where it's at, but it's up there. And again, when you look at the sufficiency rating and stuff like that, it doesn't take into consideration all these issues. Like I said, the fracture critical becomes the biggest thing. But honestly, you know, we've got enough structures around there. This one here, it takes a beating when it floods, no doubt about that. So it would help a little bit there, making it taller and wider. But honestly, that's what I look at, is where we can use the money the wisest. You know, again, like here, if we were to turn around and send this out for a full-fledged design and go back with a bridge that would meet the 25-year flood, we'd be looking at a huge structure, probably 200 feet long, 6 foot higher off the ground, and again, for a dirt road, that wouldn't justify itself. This is a perfect application for one of these kind of bridges.
Is this an annual program?
Yes. Well, let me put it this way, as of now, it is. Now,
Currently, I guess I should
yes,
say. Currently.
yeah, and honestly, the other thing is, I think it was April 9th, is I talked to you before the first of the month that KDOT has that other cost share that's open also. In this case, had gone to 90-10 on that one also. So there's another chance for us to use state and federal money for a project that we haven't quite determined yet, so.
I'm just trying to think back where, this is back to Commissioner Hall, and I don't know who the other commissioner was, besides over south or southeast of Hillsborough, we closed one. I'm just trying to think which one that is.
Closed one?
Yeah, to do the structure.
There's, is it 170th? I believe that's a closed one. Now this one here is another thing where we can actually get another $50,000 if we can close another bridge. But most of the other bridges that are in really bad condition aren't on those roads that are conducive to closing. Those bring up the issue too, is like, well, if you close that road, I gotta go the 4 miles around, you know, for instance, what we have up north. So we've looked at several of them, but none of them have been really a good alternative to close that.
So the issue that we had with that one was it went from the house, past the house, and then it's gravel stopped at the house, then it goes to dirt down at the bottom ground out there. And on the cottonwood bottom, somewhere there.
I'm really surprised that this one that we're talking about here is actually stayed as long as it has. I mean, it's got debris up inside the truss and everything. It's had quite a bit, so.
Well, how does the commission feel?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd move that we proceed with the replacement of fractured crinkle bridge on Goldenrod between 170th and 160th, accepting the bid of $267,522. I didn't catch the name on
Norfolk.
Yes.
Norfolk.
Yeah, Norfolk Contracting.
They should get the cheapest steel then.
Well, and
Right
again,
one's made.
and that's the whole thing is they're constantly out buying steel, but they don't want to buy too much and not be able to, you know, whatever the case be, or the wrong size, whatever else. But that's just the biggest thing is the price of steel. And honestly, I can tell you, industry wide, it's across reinforcing steel and everything is. So some of them are only quoting a week or two on prices.
I have a motion by Dave Mueller to go ahead with this. Before we go any further, where's the funds of this coming from?
We put this in special bridge.
Special bridge. Okay. Do I hear a second?
I'll second
Second by Dave Crowfoot. All those in favor of going ahead with this contract, say aye.
it. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Unanimous, 5-0.
All right.
Hold that.
Yep.
Should I ask for a motion for me to sign for this acceptance? Do you bid here?
You just give price directive.
Okay.
Like, you know, what I said, if you don't want, I can sign it, whatever you want to do, we just have to have a sign.
I think it's okay for you to just sign it, or if you ask Commissioner Mueller to amend his motion to include authorization for the chairman to sign.
I amend my motion to include authorization for chairman to sign.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Second that, okay, all those in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
That was close.
Yes. Talked with you, I think, last week about Sandfield Roofing proposed a change to our south building down here. Here's the official request, if you want to look at it. Basically, they're going to put a 1-inch insulation like they did on our shop up here. They're going to screw that down there and then put the EPO, that vinyl layer over the top of there. Going to give us a 20-year warranty. They're going to flash things, everything else, new skylights. And they're going to do all this basically at no cost. And that was simply because the existing material didn't come off real well. They don't feel real comfortable trying to spray on this stuff. So I feel like we're getting a better product at no charge. I can also tell you that last week I was up at Pilsen and I walked into there and I thought the lights were on. They took out the green skylights, put in brand new clear skylights, and you would not believe, it's like 3 times brighter than it was. Every time I was walking, I kept on hitting a light switch and I looked up, no, you know, so they are done. Other than this building here is the only building they have left. They have taken care of Isaac's shops as well, all of his guttering and stuff. So this would be the only thing they'd have to finish, and I'm guessing they're gonna have to wait until, the rains, whatever else, so. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that, that's what's going on. If you guys would like to vote on it, whatever else, or I can sign it, like I said, it's no cost to us, so.
I'll make a motion to approve that for Stanfield. Change order number 2-1 at $0.
Second.
Have a motion by Jonah to accept this at $0 bid. Second by Dave Mueller this is for the South Shop North Building.
Yes.
Any other conversation or just conversation about it or discussion? No other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
I talked with the harbor masters. They were going to start today. They're basically fair weather tree trimmers, so they're not going to start till probably Thursday. Anyway, kind of chuckled about it due to all the weather and the storms pop up. Being in those kind of equipment isn't real conducive. So, but he's going to keep me updated. That was the plan to go Thursday. And the only other thing I had was we had talked about last week with the road use agreement as far as private citizens and stuff. Obviously, Brad not being here. Don't know if you guys have talked about anything more than that. I mean, obviously we can table it or whatever else till next week. So,
Does anybody have any great plans that can be conclusive to everybody in the county? Because there's a lot of good people that help us out on the roads, and there's some that get out on the roads and don't help us.
I'd like for Brad to do some research into it.
Okay.
But if we could ask him to check out what other counties are doing or what alternatives are out there.
Okay.
If we could then have that as a agenda item in the future.
Okay.
We could also throw in the culvert process and cattle guards. Because we talk about it, but we don't get a written policy.
I would agree with you that there are a lot of good people that do a good job out there. It still brings up the issue of any kind of liability though, because if they're out there and they get hit, the county's probably going to be named as in a lawsuit. Or I mean, you hope nothing ever happens like that, but I mean that's
just where I was pursuing that with permitting.
Yeah.
No cost. It's just basically a heads up. I want to do this over here. That gives you a chance to go look and say, okay, if you're going to do it like this.
Yeah.
So if we're assuming the liability, at least you're putting a stamp on it.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever be assuming the liability, but we're definitely covering. I mean,
yeah.
have something in place. Again, you hope it never comes into play, but
Yeah, but if there's any type of accident, we're always gonna get named.
yeah.
I just think that's the better way to go.
You just look for deepest pockets.
Yeah, yeah.
Or if it's out there and we don't know it and they get hit, it's none of our business.
That depends on which lawyer you talk to.
You get named also.
Yeah, anything within that little area there, it depends on which area you're.
I'm just looking at it from if you're notified ahead of time, at least we're not stumbling upon it from a constituent late at night. Worried
Yes.
that he's gonna
Yeah.
fly off the road, and then
Yeah,
you gotta get out there with barricades so that nobody else gets
exactly.
into
But
it.
what would have happened that day that person did that? Because with the person had a picture of it, a grader coming down, it's not the county grader. Nobody even knew it. We didn't know this guy. I didn't know the guy.
Right.
And so, of course, it just depends on what the lawyers.
I
what
think
lawyer it
we
is.
would have to get some type of approval from our insurance before we ever even said anything about permitting.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah,
Regardless of discussion and then getting a written policy in place.
Yeah.
that's where we need to be anyway.
Yep.
Good.
Can you, text, or not text, but email Brad, let him know what we're asking for?
Sure.
We can send-
And we don't need it next week. Just-
We were also going to start on the installing the new pipes on the 60th Avenue and Nighthawk this week. Well, and kind of a holding pattern too. We don't want to get the holes dug out and then deal with a bunch of rain. So we're still working on that. We're ready to go there. So got a lot of plans. We just Mother Nature so.
It's spring.
Yes. Yeah. So.
In Kansas.
Yes.
I've had comments from some landowners about 290th, cleaning out the bridges, clearing out the trees. Looks good. Hopefully it doesn't flood. I think once it's cleaned up, we're in for a drought, right?
I'm not gonna comment because
Right.
if I say yes, then everybody's mad at me for the drought and anyway.
But it does look good. It
Yeah,
does look good.
that's the thing is, it's just, we, especially after 2019. 2019 just created havoc with every big bridge and culvert we have with debris and drift and silt and stuff.
So it's good preparation.
Well, that's what we're hoping. You know, I mean, we can go in there and I think we spent, what, 3-4 days on those structures and,
Good weather.
yeah, operator did a great job.
Did a
so.
good job.
But other than that, I don't think I had anything else unless you guys have something or, as always, if you need something, call me, text me, whatever the case may be. Even 8 o'clock at night, get me a call from the commissioner, you know,
Well,
so.
thanks for barricading that off.
I've got your number.
Yes, yes, yeah, good. But I got here, that's what we're here for, so. All right? All right, thanks.
Are you staying with Isaac?
What's that?
Are you staying?
Yes. Did you hear that? You're already gone?
You did good. You just can't do good.
I know.
Just can't win.
Oh, Isaac.
Good morning.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
It's
My first afternoon meeting.
I started the first thing this morning.
Yeah.
So I did that this afternoon.
And I told him, I said, I'm not gonna say good morning because of the rain out there.
Yeah,
But
right.
Or good afternoon, so.
Okay. I just have a couple things that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I'll start off, if you want to take one of these and pass it down. What I'm handing out here, this was something that was done by the K-State U.S. Forestry Service back in 2017. Pretty much examining the lake and the ground and the trees and everything out there, and kind of giving us recommendations as far as what we could do to clean it up. What I was wanting to talk to you about, I was thinking about possibly doing a spring cleanup weekend. And because typically, you know, homeowners, dock owners, that kind of stuff, we don't like them going across the lake, cutting stuff down without permission and everything. On the back page of that packet there is like a waiver of liability, which we've used in the past for voluntary work out at the lake. What I was thinking about doing was possibly opening it up for a weekend or maybe like a Wednesday through Sunday, something like that. If people, dock owners or homeowners, wanted to come across and cut down certain things included in this report, pretty much my idea was they would come to the office, tell us what they were wanting to do, we'd go look at it. If we okayed it, then you know they could cut it down, sign that sheet, that waiver of liability sheet, and they could help us. We'd open up our burn pit, dump pile out there at the lake. Kind of the agreement, if they cut it down, they can haul it off, and that way we could get a little bit of help this spring with the trees. It's kind of a ever ongoing challenge for us with what we have out there. So I think this way, you know, people could get a little bit out of it, we could get a little bit out of it, and kind of work together to get some of that stuff cleaned up. I don't know when that waiver of liability was created. I had it on file there in the office. I sent it to Brad. He said he was gonna look at it. I didn't hear back from him. Is he here today? Okay. But that was something that I was hoping to maybe do in April. When I get out of here, I can try to get back a hold of Brad to see if he had any changes, but I hadn't heard back from him
I
Oh,
don't
uh,
think
on that.
you're getting hold of him today.
Say that again?
I don't think you're getting hold of him today. He's-
Okay.
He's out of commission today.
Gotcha.
Do you have any,
Literally.
do you have any employees scheduled on the weekend?
Yes, we do. I would have 2.
Okay. I just, to help sort of
Yes.
steer things.
Yeah, and kind of my plan, what I was thinking is we have like our boat slips. When people come in and check their boat in, we give them a slip, pretty much says, yeah, I stopped by the office, did what I was supposed to do. What I was hoping on doing is if they came in, signed that sheet, I would just give them one of those signed, and then just say carry this on you, you know, when you're out doing that. So that way we can make sure everybody that was out cutting or whatever had signed that sheet. And that was just my idea as far as making sure everybody that was out doing work had signed that waiver liability sheet in office.
Now, a lot of people was very interested when they lived right here on that cove, right here across the road.
Yeah.
How are you gonna handle that
Well,
situation?
and that, as far as, you know, all the approvals of what they were cutting was gonna be solely based off this report. You know, because like in that, there's a lot of things about bank stabilization and clear cutting, and you know, with the way the lake is, there's not very many banks that are shallow. They're a lot steep, and you cut all those trees out of there, then you're gonna have a serious erosion problem. And so that's kind of something that I'm trying to avoid. So really, I want people, if they're gonna come, to have clear-cut plan as far as, you know, what they're wanting to do. If they want to remove a couple evergreen trees or some of those other invasive species on there, we'll give them the okay to cut certain things, and that would be it.
Okay.
You know, because that is a big one, is the view. It's something that we're always dealing with. And then the other big thing is the docks. You know, people want to trim stuff away from their docks or whatever. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever done anything like this. I know we haven't since I've been here.
You was here when we started that, weren't you, Ken?
No.
You wasn't?
No.
Should cut them off at about 1.5 feet, so you got some stump posts to sit on and fish.
Also the
Fishing
triple.
accent, better fishing
Well, then
accent.
you can cast, because the tree's gone, you got a place to sit.
Yes. So you trip over them and fall in the water.
Well,
I think it's a great idea. You can involve some of your people at the lake. Like I said, it's a win-win.
take the roots.
I think it's a good way to go because I think it's already being done.
Yeah, at times it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, without permission.
So,
Yeah.
and
that's
that
kinda
way
sad.
you got the sign waiver.
Yeah, and you've got a little more, hopefully a little more direction. You
Yeah.
can give a little more direction.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of,
You know what's going on.
yeah.
Yeah, instead of just chainsaw.
Yeah, I think it's a wise step to have those liability waivers.
Okay, and yeah, I mean, if you guys want me to make sure that that's all cleared with Brad first, I can
Yeah.
do that.
Yes.
Because I don't know when that waiver liability was actually done.
But the last time we tried it, all of a sudden, without leadership, all of a sudden there was a whole valley cleaned.
Well, and you know, it is going to be a first.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't go well, probably never do it again.
I just didn't love it because we can point the finger at you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna go out, if they say I got these 3 and you go out and look at them, that should take care of a lot of that.
Right.
Just going out and cutting something. that
Cutting
should.
stuff down.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I'm glad to see you started. I mean, I think it's a good deal.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to vote on this, Commission?
I just do what he needs to do.
Okay. Right.
So we can point the finger at it.
Had nothing to do with it.
Run on the place. Yep. Let him.
Okay, this next thing that I have is something that I've been approached to by numerous people. And it's the situation regarding the public docks. Before I go any further with this, I do want to let you know I'm kind of on the fence about it, but I wanted to bring it up to you guys because I've been asked by a number of people to bring it to the commission. Right now, we have 79 private docks on the lake that are open to the public. Then we have the 3 county-owned docks, 1 each by each boat ramp, and then the heated dock. Since I've been here, and I don't know if this has been discussed or what, I don't know, because right now they're not allowing any more private docks on the lake. And I don't know when that was stopped or when that decision was made, but I have a waiting list for docks of about 30 people. I think if it was something, if we wanted to allow a few more, I would not comfortably want to do more than probably 6. And I think originally, according to my dock sheet, at one point there might have been 90, and right now we're at 79. Now I don't know if that's true. My list is 1 to 100, and then there's random numbers throughout that 100 that are missing. and that was there when I started. So I don't know if that was originally what the number was or what was going on there. But I knew that I do have a lot of people interested in adding docks to the lake. My question for you, and I don't know what the answer to this is, if there was some kind of study done or whatever on the amount of docks, and they said, you know, this is probably the most the lake should have. I don't know what that conversation was or when that took place as far as them shutting it down to more docks.
Have you ever talked to Dale Stelling?
I have, not about this, but I mean, I've talked to him about a lot of other stuff, but not this.
He'd be the only one I know that could tell you probably where it actually come from, because I've heard this, that there was assigned positions for docks.
Okay.
And what they originally decided on was enough for the lake.
Gotcha.
Now, whether it was 100, whether it was this number that we have,
Yeah.
we have not opened up. The only dock that we've done anything with, and I think it took the place of one, was Lynn Slifer built one, because he put a roof
Building
over
on it, yeah.
And it didn't end up like it was supposed to. It was supposed to have a ramp, or not a ramp, but a walkway on the outside where you can go to the back side of it, cast your line off of it.
Yeah.
And it didn't, it covered the whole thing.
Right.
But when we set in here, it was supposed to have that, and it
Yeah.
didn't get that, so.
Okay.
That's the only thing that we have done, or since I've been a commissioner, as far
That has
as
taken
docks,
place.
besides replacing them and stuff like that.
Right.
And,
Well-
and roofs on them and things like that, I mean, I think we can turn this lake real quick, like if you wanna open it up to 30 more people, you can turn it into a Lake of the Ozarks
Yeah,
and
you
drive
could,
down
yeah,
there.
right.
And I'm just, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
And I will say this one more time, because I probably, you guys have heard me say it before, there's a school teacher here that a long time ago, 20 years ago, he said, I love this lake, I like to see it, I wanna see the lake, I don't wanna see docks on it everywhere. And so,
Well, and
that's,
Well, you know, when the lake was young, in its younger days, all the docks were, from I remember when I was young, were just the little walkout things. That was it.
yeah.
And now they've evolved into these
Monsters.
bigger things with roofs on them. And yeah, they probably, when the lake was young, it was probably studied, and it was just a fishing lake. They probably said it could handle 90.
Right.
I could see that.
Yeah. Well, and I know that there are studies that certain people do that. I mean, they say this is the max number that should be here. And I didn't know that, and that was kind of a thing. I didn't know if that was done out there, or what the case was.
Should we ask K-State?
Well, and you know, and that's kind
I'm
of,
sure there's somebody else that studies that.
and that, like I said,
Well, if anybody does.
I'm really not
I bet
leaning
there's-
one way or
Must
the
have been better
other.
now somewhere.
Is there any dimension figures on these?
25 by 25 is the max size
Size,
that they can
okay.
be on the lake, yeah.
But no height.
There is no height and there's no, you know, there is no roof policy. There's
Right.
limitations on what they can be made out of, what the floats can be, and the max size. And according to the rule booklet, those are the three things that kind of limit what people can do. Now, as far as, yeah, like the roof, that kind of thing, there's nothing on there, in regards to that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you know, like I said, I really don't have a preference one way or the other. You know, they said, oh, there's been so many houses that have been built since they've last allowed this, and I get that. You know, and it seems like every year 3 or 4 change hands, people sell them, but outside of that, a lot of people that have moved out there have asked about it, and they've asked that I bring it here. But I'm really not persuaded one way or the other. I was just kind of more curious to find information as far as if there was a reason for the number right now. We'll talk to Dale and I'll see what he says.
See what he says, but, you know, whatever the commission wants, but I would have to agree with that school teacher a long time ago, because I thought he was he says, I just want to see the lake, I want to be able to see it, I don't want to see, and I think that's what everybody wants to do when they drive around, see the lake, but do they want to see the whole bank line with docks? I don't think so. I'd like to see I don't know. You're a fisherman, Josh? Yeah.
And it comes back to location, some places are
Yeah.
appropriate.
Right.
Well, and that
Some
kind of
places are
opens
not.
the whole new door of if we were to allow however many more,
Yeah.
let's just say you said 5 more,
Right.
You still have.
how do you go, and how do you go about it?
Yeah,
One, yeah, everybody has a plan as far as where they want it, but, how do you pick who gets that and all of that? And that was kind of a whole other thing that would be brought up after.
Lottery system.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I
Allows you to
that's
do
the
it.
only thing I could think of, is if you just did a random drawing.
There has
Maybe
been
go ahead.
a shared dock system.
And there are a couple of them out there that have 2 people on them. It's like neighbors have split a dock.
There's
and-
lots of them out
Yeah,
there.
there are people that do that.
I was thinking.
Okay, yeah, something like that. Well, and the problem with that,
You could
right?
get, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boats,
Honestly.
and then you designated that area, then you could get some more people what they want, but not take up a huge area.
Well, and I guess if we did something like that, that would kind of change we would have to change the requirements on that size, because right now 25 by 25, you can't even do a 2-slip with a 25 by 25. You can do a 1, or you can have guys park on the outside, which some of them do, but outside of that,
It's interesting that I've seen a lot of houses sell because that house had a dock.
absolutely.
There's a yellow one over there that just did that lately on the east side. I don't know, I'd have to stop thinking some of the others, but there's been some houses sell just because that place had a dock, and then they put the house back up for sale. Only the ownership becomes to another property.
So we're about 50 years behind the curve on that deal, from when people started building out there.
You might be ahead of the curve by not having the docks. You might have
Yeah, I thought that whoever did it back when they said that, we just reinforced it.
Yeah.
And enforced it. So I think that somebody really thought of the lake, and I think that's
Yeah.
what our main goal should be, not just for because today's world, we all know that people that buy out there can do just about what they want to do. I mean, as far as have the potential to, so. It's whatever we want to turn it into as a commission.
Right.
And a park director. Is there any further discussion? Anything that we'd like to do with this?
Surely we riled up somebody. Why don't we just wait and listen?
It'll
Okay,
come back.
wait, listen. Okay. We'll wait and listen. Thank you for bringing it to us.
Yep.
And, we'll listen to anybody's comments. I know there's a store owner here in Marion that would just love to have one. Every time I go in, I hear that, so. Thank you, Bryce, or not Bryce, Isaac.
Yeah, yeah. Next thing is we are planning to have, this will be our first time doing this, but we are planning on having a crappie fishing tournament this fall, September 18th. It's a Saturday. This will be put on by a couple of different groups, the main one being the Kansas Crappie Club. It's a group of guys that go around and fish lakes around the state. They do little tournaments and things like that. They're going to be our main sponsor. They're going to be putting on the tournament and all of that. The president of the club, he comes out to the lake all the time and fishes out there. And this was one weekend they had open, and he came to me and asked, if we could do it out at the lake. I'm bringing it up because the way that we're wanting to run it is from start at 5 a.m. and we would go until 3 p.m. He said that we could probably expect about 50 to 60 boats, and it's going to be a boat and kayak tournament. It's going to be a no-wake tournament, no speed boats, anything like that. What I'm asking the commission for is the ability to close the lake down from that 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. for everybody outside of the tournament.
Fishing only the whole lake.
Say that again?
Fishing only the whole lake, no boating, no
You gotta
skiing.
Just be the entrance.
You gotta be in a
Yes.
tournament to be on the
Yeah.
lake.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking is to close it down
Sure,
for
to
like
the-
recreational
to the
boaters
public.
and stuff just for that time period. As soon as everybody's pulled off the lake, we can reopen it back up to the public. It's on a Saturday, which we planned. As of right now, the wait time on Saturday is noon to 6. So we would run into that a little bit. We're trying to have every boat off the water by 2 o'clock. And then check-in will be at 3, but we're hoping to have all
What
the
was
boats
the
off.
date?
Say that again?
What was the date?
September 18th. So, and it's late enough in the season.
Yeah.
It's kind of hit or miss. There's normally still some people out there that go out that time of year.
It's kind of like July.
But it's also
July
not.
18th.
Yeah, it's also not
Right.
a busy time.
And who are we in the agreement with for the lake for whatever name it is for the Kansas?
Kansas Crappie Club.
No. State
Oh.
organization.
He's talking about CFAP.
CFAP, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Fish and Game.
Fish and Game.
Yes.
I was gonna ask, do they have to approve that?
So actually, as of right now, we've contacted them and they've agreed to send 2 of their guys down to sit on the water that day and help us out and keep an eye on the boaters and all that stuff.
That's good.
So yeah, they are, they have been notified and they said they do it all the time. But that's, and I mean, it's not like we would close down the bank or anything like that. It would literally just be the water for recreational boating, or anybody that's not entering in the tournament. But the tournament is open to anybody. You don't have to be part of a club. You don't have to be.
You can fish off the bank for this.
You can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Okay. I have no problems as long as it's CFAP or the state organization. If you get some sort of approval from them,
Okay.
I think that'd be a good deal.
Part of tourism.
I'd put some signs up just for a special event.
Yes.
Even this far forward.
Yes.
Because you get somebody to drive up here from Wichita that day, they're gonna
Yeah.
be mad.
Yeah.
But if they've had ample opportunity to come here and see that sign.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I can definitely do that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I guess, sounds good. Get us some approvals and I think it's okay. Go ahead.
Do we need to have a motion on closing the lake?
Never done it before, I guess it should.
We make a motion that we close the lake to the general public for boating on September 18th from 5 a.m. to 3 p.m.
3 would probably be safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, have a motion by Dave Crowfoot to close the Marion County Lake on September 18th from 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. for a crappie fishing tournament. Second by Dave Mueller. All those in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
And if the tournament fails, we'll open it back up.
Yeah. Bad weather or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pounding rain.
And then the last thing that I have is I've talked to Tina about this is rebidding out trash service for the lake. The city of Florence, I think, has had that. We looked it up and it looks like December 14th of 2009 was the last time that bids had been taken for this. And since then, prices have changed. But I was curious about if we could get bids for the trash service out there.
Thought that was happened last year.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
just
and then-
talked about it. We would take it till to a certain time.
I don't think we acted on
Well, you
We did.
decided to wait because of you went ahead and approved the current contract because it was too late to get bids. But City of Florence already knows that you all intended to do bids.
it. We extended it for a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did.
That's what we did. So for this year was when we should take the bids, is what you're saying. Okay? Is that correct? Is that the way you remember it? You don't remember us doing this?
I don't.
Okay.
I remember that
They
it
raised
came
the
up
prices,
and
didn't
then.
they?
I don't think I
extended it.
came in here for that. I think it was something that was sent, wasn't it?
Could have been.
From the city of Florence, and I think it was just brought up in here and approved. Yeah, if I remember right.
So we do it from June to June, something like that, or time period, or?
This will be the first time that I've come for bids since I've been.
Yeah, I don't think they need to take any action as long as, unless you're all okay with him seeking bids, correct? And the current contract, the time frame that it is, do you remember what that is? You have
It's-
a copy of it.
Yeah. It's 5 months, November through March. That's our slow time, and then April through October, and they bid each part of that.
Yeah, but what was the time frame that our current contract is, do you remember?
That was for charging of prices, but that's
Yes.
not the contract time.
No, I don't know that.
Okay.
I don't off the top of my head.
thought-
I can find it though.
It seemed like usually first of the year, we always did it.
I don't remember when we did it.
I know this one here, it started April 1st.
Okay.
April first, maybe we can make it from April to April then.
Okay, well, and I can see that new one and see if it's different, but according to this, it says the contract date will be April 1st. But this was back in 2010.
It's not that long ago.
We just have to see what our current contract is. I don't think
Okay.
it's April,
Okay.
so,
And I can.
I think
when
it was
get back to
later in the
office,
year.
I have that.
yeah. I'm sure I have a copy of it, probably right behind you.
I have heard some people, just a few, but I mean, talking about the recycling. How come City of Marion gets recycling? Wait a minute, it's here, not the City of Marion.
They can bring it in.
Right, they can bring it in, but it's just, I didn't know that anything could accommodate that.
Lawrence did.
Okay.
They do recycle.
Yeah. I just didn't know if
No.
there was an option there, because I just heard some concerns about not having recycling service.
Is there any general feelings towards what we should, I mean, recycling is up and on the table and off the table sometimes.
You could ask that in the bid if anybody wants to recycle. I mean, whoever turns in bids, ask them if that's possible.
Oh.
Yeah, you could have them bid that as an alternate, like
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
here's for trash and
With
here's
or
for
without,
recycling.
you know.
Right, and that's where I was going, just what would that cost, what would that look like?
Okay, you want me to try to get that when we do this?
See if anybody would.
Okay.
I'm interested to see what the termination dates and start dates are. I don't know. Okay.
Whatever you want.
And then the last thing I had was the dock. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that without Brad or not.
Yes, we need to do it today.
That's how I feel.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Executive session or open meeting?
I'd like to have an
Well, okay.
executive before we know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's contract negotiation.
Yeah, but you can't do an executive session for
Yeah.
contract negotiations without your attorney present.
Okay, we can't do it.
So, I mean, that's the reason.
Are we ever gonna get it done then? I mean,
You
we
could-
just delayed after delay. 8-1. Grass is turning green now again.
Did we get some stuff picked up?
No, but we went and looked at it. And that brought up some more complications.
We have prices at a,
What's it take to get it done?
Permit, it's gonna take her a special permit, because of the size of the framework. Bryce and I went down and looked at it, met with Ben, went over everything. I don't know.
Well, the biggest thing is there's two 10 by 40 pieces, two 10 by 30 pieces. Those aren't an issue. There's is it a 10 by 15?
10 by
also?
15 and a 15.
But the problem is the 15 by 15. Requires a special permit from the state as far as permits, as well as is required escort drivers that are certified to work in Kansas, assuming that we follow the rules. Now, this, where this property is, we can come straight up, is it Woodlawn, I believe?
Yep.
Come straight up Woodlawn, all the way up through Harvey County. We would stay on county roads except for crossing 196 as well as Highway 50. Now, again, I brought that up and they just said, doesn't matter, that 15-foot We could get them, we can't put them on our semi-trailer, because it's not long enough, but, we have 2 local people that we could hire and have a drop deck that they will fit on there, except for that 15 by 15, so we'd either have to lay that down there and have the special permits. You can't really stand it up, because now that raises the issue of height.
Yeah.
The other thing that you could do is you could cut it in half, slide it together, wouldn't need that special permit, but then you'd have to turn around and try to put it back together or build a new one.
How many cuts? How many?
Two cuts.
It would take 2 cuts to cut.
2 cross members cut?
No, a lot more than that. Well,
No, it depends which way you cut it.
you'd have to cut it lengthwise, because if you cut it.
It was 15 by 15, so.
Yeah, lengthwise is lengthwise. Widthwise is widthwise. 15 by 15.
Okay, I got you. I
You
see what
cut
you're
5
saying.
foot off the end.
Now, the only
Yeah.
issue with that is that, number one, putting it back together, you'd have the issue of putting it back together structurally, square, whatever else. Anytime you start messing with that, you can put that. Second of all, is whether the commission wants to continue to use that, or go to something else. Again, that's gonna be the commission decision there, but as far as hauling it, the other thing is we'll have to have, I would probably recommend some sort of a crane down there. Biggest problem is when you pick up a 40-foot long piece of steel and it's 10 foot wide, you'd wanna have 4 pick points just to pick it up without, you drop it at one end, you spring it, you're done. So, err on the side of caution, that shouldn't cost that much, but anyway.
Estimated weight.
10,000.
Yeah, weight isn't a problem,
Okay.
by any means.
No, just for the piece that you critical pick. Is that 10,000?
No,
No,
he
it's
said
10,000 for
total
everything.
weight for all
Total.
6 pieces.
Yeah, so the only problem you're really gonna have is just you reach, be able to pick it up and set it on the truck from where it's at, so. I mean, I think probably 15-ton truck mounted crane would probably handle, you wouldn't pick up every piece at a time, maybe you can set them on there, but anyway, those are all issues you can deal with, but I mean, that's where the commission has to say, make that determination, I guess, if that's what you want. If you want to continue to use that, yes, we can cut it, to bring it back, you know.
What's the cost for the permitting? What's the cost for
I don't know.
Did not
keep
look
it
at that.
line size? And
Okay.
what's the cost of cut and re-weld?
I don't know that. I do know that I've talked to a couple other people outside of Road and Bridge to see just what it would cost to contract somebody out to go and get that. I got one bid without looking at it. I mean, like he said, it's tentative 3,000 to 5,000. I talked to another guy that said he thinks he could do it for 2,500. I went that far as cutting it and re-welding it. I've talked to a couple guys, you know, they said it kind of depends on where that's at, but you know, you cut and you weld it and then you move forward with somebody else and they look at it and say, you know, I can't guarantee this work, or I can't guarantee this as a frame. So I guess my big thing was, I mean,
Somebody could haul it for that 2,500, you thought?
load it and haul it, yeah.
Everything?
Everything.
Let's go that route.
But my question, and I guess kind of my other thing is if you do that, moving forward with a new contractor, would you want them to look at that? I mean, the new contractor look at it before you did anything? Because the other thing I don't want to do is have somebody go down and get it and bring it back, and then somebody else, whoever moves forward with the project, says, well, I want it over here, I need it over here, I can't work with it here, or whatever the case may be. Then we got to load the whole thing back up and move it somewhere else, or they look at it and they say, you know, I don't know what he was planning, I don't know if I could use it. I mean, I think it'd be very beneficial that whoever's gonna move forward with the project, however we handle that, they look at it and they give us their opinion. Because I think at the end of the day, that's gonna be the most important thing, is that they know what to do with
Do
it.
you have somebody in mind to do it?
I have
Go
the
back
other
to
two
the original
bidders,
bid.
and, I mean, I don't know, you know, and that was something that was brought up, I don't think was ever decided, is if we need to rebid the whole thing, given the circumstances that we're under, or if
Okay.
we,
Pay
I don't
by
know.
the job. I mean,
But I think it would be very beneficial if whoever that person is, if they looked at this and they could say, you know, yeah, we can do something with it, put it right here, or whatever that case may be, so we don't have to do this again.
Have you taken the pieces that you see and the size that you give us and come up with anything that looks like a plan?
Yeah, I mean the framework and the sizing matches everything with that dock.
Okay.
It does, you know, but as far as what the welds, all that stuff, you know, I just don't know, and I don't feel comfortable saying, yeah, you know, this is good or this is what
Right. Understand.
someone else would like to use. But I think it would be valuable to have whoever that person is moving forward's opinion on, you know, what's it worth? Can they use it? All that stuff.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, it does.
Couple things to, I talked to him, we were down there. His plan was to put the 40s and then the 30s on the end, weld them together. The one 10 by 15 fits down here and the other 15 by 15 on the other end, basically making the rectangle, was where all the utilities and stuff like that were.
The locker room.
That's why the sizes are different?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that's what he said. The other thing is, what, half of them were painted?
3 pieces were painted, yes.
And we've took a picture of the stuff he was using, but he said in order to paint them, he went through and basically hand wiped and acetone the entire thing. Basically to prep the surface, to get rid of any rust there may be. So you have to do that. Now he said he used one of those little foam or little rollers like that, and he acetoned it, painted those in 2 hours. Boy howdy, he needs to, you know. But anyway, and like Isaac said, the other thing was, if we do haul them back, where do you want to drop them? If you drop them out there, you're always going to have to worry about the people out there. Well, liability of kids climbing, who knows? You're also going to have a place where you're going to have to set them up and paint them or whatever else. We could take them out to the south shop if you want to do that, or anywhere local. It doesn't matter, but that's going to have to be decided too, because you are going to have to finish things up, and you're going to have to. If you have somebody weld that one back together, you're going to have a place to jig that up to make sure it's. So anyway, those are all things, and I guess kind of what Isaac's saying is, you know, maybe that is something you guys need to talk up with Brad as to how you proceed from here. If there is a problem, you know, do you have to go back to rebid it, or can you know, those are all.
Get it
decisions.
on our property somewhere and worry about that.
Well, but like I said, that was what Isaac and I were talking about, is if you have too many people with their hands in going to try to take care of this, it'd be nice just to have, like, whoever is hired to, you know.
So who's building docks out there now? I thought there's some guy.
There's a couple local guys.
Have you talked to them?
About it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not a business and they're not insured.
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing, is getting the insurance.
You know, they said like they were interested in it.
As a county, we can't do it like an individual.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And that's pretty much, I've talked to them about it, and they said, you know, they would be interested in it, but they're also not interested in all the other stuff that they have.
We could buy the insurance for them. I mean, we're gonna buy it for the other guy.
I don't know.
Like, those are all decisions that have to be made by the commission,
But if you ask the original bidders to rebid it, and you have all this material,
They're totally different
it
systems.
would certainly, if they knew what they had,
Yeah.
that's already started, it's gonna make a big difference.
Well, like I said, you know, you can say, we have this material here that you can use. If not, give us a bid for what you want to do. But the person that starts from scratch is probably going to be a higher price than what this, if somebody took this.
Right, that's what I
But,
mean,
yeah.
that's what I mean, get them to take into consideration the material that we have.
And if nothing else, then if you select the people that don't want to use that, then we will still have that extra framework.
What kind of insurance is it? I mean, as far as,
I think county normally, it's $1 million liability.
wow,
Isn't that what we require?
Well, for, like,
Yeah.
usually for like
Yeah.
big jobs, it is,
just
you know.
making sure it's just the standard.
Well, they'd have workman's comp and everything.
Yeah.
anyway, so.
I think standard plan of the $2 million, every place we do business.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Commission, I heard a $2,500 bid roughly. Would we give Isaac permission to get in contact with that person, and see if we can move all that material back to our own grounds and figure out what grounds where we want to put it, and go make one step at a time?
What area do we have down behind the dam?
It's that flat area.
Do we have any area back
The
there?
south, or where your work area shop
The
is,
spillway.
you have big enough area for that? People
No.
up there?
Not that much area.
I don't think I could, I mean, we could put it back there, I wouldn't be able to do much back there, you know, and then there is area there at the spillway. I guess you hope it just doesn't flood.
Well,
Or you can
that's-
tie it down or
well,
something maybe, but.
The spillway's a great area, but it would have to be up and going within a short time and get over it.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
And we don't know how long it's gonna take.
Right.
It's not gonna flood anymore.
Thank you. Thanks, Bryce.
Within 5 days of moving it there,
I'm looking
I can
at-
guarantee you it'll flood.
Where do we have access next to the water? Because once you get going, you'll float it across.
The spillway's the only place.
Yeah, spillway would be your best bet for that.
Yeah, honestly, there's actually two things. You could build it right there and you could float it there, you take the old one out, everything's right there. Now, again, you probably would want to do the best you could to close that off for liability wise, so people weren't out. But anyway,
What's the chances of just going ahead and getting rid of the old one?
Well, and that.
Freeing that area up?
That was another thing, is I have a guy that he said he would be willing to take it out for, and it's the same guy that offered to go and get this other stuff. He said he would take that out for $7,000 and he could do it as soon as April 1st. But then again, you know, I guess, I don't know if that new contractor, whoever that person is, if they wanna look at this first, you know, look at the old dock first, and, you know, as far as what we have there, or if, you know, they say, well, I wanna keep it there and use it to store my equipment in while I build a new one, whatever the case may be. I mean, I don't know. I think, honestly, having a new contractor be able to look at that stuff before we did it would be nice, but I don't know if it's required. You know, like I said, there's a guy that's willing to do it for $7,000, and he said he could get started April 1st. You know, but I don't know if there's
And
gonna
that
be a
would-
new contractor, if looking at that old dock and going down there and seeing how it was done would be beneficial, then I don't think you'd wanna pull it out before he got a chance to do that. But
There's a lot of ifs no matter which way we go.
What are the chances I get arrested if I go with you down there tonight? No, seriously.
down to-
I don't
I
wanna get in
mean-
Dave's shoes.
They won't arrest you, they just turn you in.
just have to give him a call and see if he'd be able to meet with us.
Because I'll pull some contractors together and just get it done. This is not.
Well, and that I really was hoping, I didn't know Brad wasn't gonna be here today. I talked to him on Friday and I thought he would.
I mean,
Yeah, but-
we can hire people for different jobs, we can hire a welder, we can hire a person to lay the deck down, hire a person to build the building.
Yeah.
Just be our own general contractor?
Yeah. Got, you know, when the public, we need to do something. You know, I'd like to go ahead and pull it out April 1, and get it out of the water, the old one. Because it's not good for anything.
Other than people are still fishing off of it, I guess.
We can set some timelines once we get our stuff here.
The biggest thing, where we're gonna set it up, and that's the biggest thing I think right now, because if we set it even over there where his shop is, well, then you gotta get it across the water somewhere, somehow.
But then again, he might call tomorrow and say, get it out of here.
Unless they get down here somewhere, then you can float
Well,
it.
before you sell it
Yeah.
to somebody else.
Well,
I don't know if you've got any good area except for right where the flood area comes, right
Right there
there.
in this flat.
Yeah.
It's not gonna float, is it?
It won't float until you put floats on
I
it.
was gonna say, that metal.
It's just tubular steel.
Yeah.
It is a tubular steel.
It's 2x6 exteriors, 1/4-inch
Quarter,
wall,
yeah.
2x6 interiors, 1/8-inch wall.
That's all gotta be out of water, I hope, when it's floating.
Yes.
Yeah, it should, well, but that's the point, he painted it with a primer plus
Yeah.
it's a, not Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams paint, so.
Okay.
It's a marine grade.
I think it's gonna look fun out there, we're gonna take some pictures of him.
Right here.
Yeah.
Roughly footprint wise.
Yeah, yeah.
Sitting out here.
that's the next best place if you go right beside, I don't know where they tied it down to, and a little bit south of the walkway, and then come right, drag it off in that area where the road comes down from your shop down that area. How big is that?
Where at?
Just a little bit south of the walkway, the old walkway that you used to walk up on the fishing dock.
Basically,
You're talking about right there, like where the dock's at, right?
yeah, right,
Yeah,
right
yeah.
west of where the dock is now.
You would
Right
have
west of
room to
that.
put it there.
But
You know,
it
if you,
would be better over by the boat dock, it's level over there. Well, the old one is, you got
It's a
curves
little hill over there. Where you talking about?
over by the spillway.
Oh, I agree, unless you're worried about floating away.
It's not gonna float away.
Okay.
Unless we want to get
That
4
flat area
foot
over there
deep
is
across
best.
there.
When the water gets up, it'd be a good time to launch it.
Yeah, lift it for you and just propel it.
But it floats first.
I would make a motion that
Okay.
Isaac have a not to exceed $3,000 to get our property to our property.
To Marion
I'd second that.
Kansas.
To go out and see if the contractor will go down and pick it up.
okay.
Now, was that them picking up, or we provided somebody to pick it up?
That was them do everything. Yeah.
That's-
Yeah.
Okay, that's step one, let's do that.
Okay.
You have a motion on the floor by Jonah. I'll second it. To go down, have contractor go down, pick it up and bring it to our property. We'll have to decide that, but I got a feeling it's probably where Dave's talking about. We want to try that. It'd be the best.
The
If they're on
spillway.
Try it, see, cut out, make sure we.
Give you room to work.
As far as the discussion goes, anywhere, I'm not gonna say it has to be here, it has to be there, but anywhere around the lake, because that would involve no permitting again. It would be at our own, you know.
What about clear to the north end? I mean, that's, I'm just saying, in that flat area, that's a flat area up there. I don't know whether when it floods, how far it does come back, quite a ways up there. But that's the only other area that I know of that's flat, close to the water.
I don't think they could float it there.
Okay. Too shallow.
Yeah, that'd
Okay.
be my concern.
Okay, good enough. That's a good thought. Okay. We have motion on the floor by Jonah, second by me, to just go and retrieve our construction material from this contractor and bring it back to Marion County. Does anybody have any further discussion?
You wanna hold off on getting the old one removed?
For right now? Yeah, just we've got one thing at a time.
Okay.
No further discussion, I'm gonna take a vote. All those in favor right now, say aye. Aye. All
Thank
those
you, Bruce.
against that, say no. Or against it? No hear, no no's? Yes, that's what we'll do. Hope we can get her done for that. Thank you, Isaac, for some work on that.
Yes.
Appreciate
And that's it for me.
Took longer than Bryce.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something not right with that.
Bryce getting ribbed all day.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no, thank you. Matt Both, I see you on the screen. Can you hear Matt?
Yes, sir. Hey, good afternoon, Commissioners.
Yes, good afternoon. What have you brought for us today?
Hey, I'm running a little short of time because you
Okay.
guys running just a little late here, so I'll make this snappy for you. This is pertaining to Resolution 2017-27, which Tina has on the screen there, which a resolution pertaining to the open burning of pasture, tillable farm ground, conservation reserve program land, waterways, rights of way, other land, and replacing Resolution 2014-05 and Resolution 2017-07. So basically, in slang terms, this is the burn resolution, as almost, I'm sure you guys know. So with the recent uptick in fires here in the county over the last 30 to 45 days, there is one minor word changing in the resolution that the Marion County Fire Chiefs would like to propose to you guys So on the second page, under Roman Roman number 2, letter E, reading that sentence there. In the event that the emergency management director exercises this authority, they shall notify the Marion County Commissioners as soon as it is practicable. The fire chiefs would like to see that amended to the emergency management director shall notify the chair of the Marion County Commissioners instead of having to call the commissioners individually, since the commission board has now expanded. We're trying to make Randy's life a little easier in this proposed change of going from all the commissioners to just the chair of the Marion County Commissioners.
Okay. I'm gonna,
Should you have either chair or vice chairman, in case you can't reach the chair? I mean, more than one person?
And or just or.
And or.
Notifying the board is as simple as sending an email. I mean, it doesn't say that he has to notify them before the ban is in place.
no, he already has done the ban, he just does it afterwards, yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause
What, was there anything else, or Matt, that was the reason why?
Randy was just having a challenge notifying all the commissioners with the larger size of the board,
But he
especially when we're out on a fire scene.
Well, and that's not when we expected to do that, though. I don't expect him to do it till after he's done and back and coming back in. I mean, that's what I think. If he has to do it, Matt, well, he's done it. I mean, that's, as far as I'm concerned, you know?
Yeah, when I was notified,
Okay,
he said.
we're just trying to make Randy's life a little easier and notifying the chair, because this was originally written when the commission
At
was
3.
smaller.
Yeah. So, I'm,
If you guys are opposed to it, that's fine. You know, we're just proposing it to help things work a little smoother.
yeah. I would like to think on this a little bit and bring it back. It's been proposed here, and come back with it and let the commission think on it a little bit and maybe make a decision within the next week or two.
If that's your will, that's fine. Yep.
Does anybody have any other discussion? I hear none. We will give you an answer, Matt. Thank you for presenting it. Is there anything else?
That's it.
I appreciate it. We'll get you an answer on this.
Just
Sounds good, thanks.
Commission to chair, right? I mean,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
make my own notes here.
Yeah, that's what the way I understand it, right, Matt? Commission to chair.
Yeah, he just wants to notify one person.
Okay.
But wasn't the ban already in effect when we got notified?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I thought.
Right. Okay,
601 happens.
moving on. Janine's not gonna be here, right?
Right.
So, 2 o'clock. We're only 30 minutes behind. Okay. Employee personnel, or employees review, how much time does anybody have time for this? You do today? I mean, how much time?
Didn't somebody say get out of here?
No, that's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
I'll go for 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. 30 minutes, everybody good?
Put a dent in it.
Okay, so before we go into that, because I would make, we have no more business after that. Public comments, I'd like to get the public comments done. Any public comments? We have nobody in the building. see none. You don't see nothing chat-wise?
No.
Okay. Commission comments. Any commission comments?
Did notice stuff pop out about the future going forward virtual, and how you accommodate public comments. And I think that's a pretty good idea, and just allow people to know at the very beginning of public comments, the first one, that they can go ahead and post it in the chat. Doesn't mean we're gonna address it, we're not gonna read it. But when we get down to public comments, so that they don't have to stay on the meeting for the whole time, they can make their public comment and we can read it off. Same goes for an email. There's a lot of different avenues. It's allowing the public to say what they need to say, but not take up their entire day.
Okay. I have no problem with that.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's just something I read from the KAC, I think, and it just sounded right.
Will be just like written comments. They can send in a letter anytime, they can send in an email anytime,
Or
they can post on chat.
They can, yeah. You know, I know some people probably panic when they go to get in that chat, and they want to say all this, and then we close the public comment.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
go ahead and say it before we get to public comment. We'll read it off when we get there.
Maybe we should remind everybody of that every week, because I think we know of one that would like to do that too, so, yeah. Tina, are you with us on that?
Yes.
Doesn't mean that we'll engage it through the meeting. So
I have no other commission comments in. For right now then, I'd like to move into review employee performance evaluations for executive session. Move that recess into executive session or discuss department employee evaluations for personnel matters pursuant to KSA 75-4319B with just the board present from 2:35 to 3:05.
Second.
But you also need to include for personnel matters and that exception reason, which is number
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
It's circled here, it's here on here, for personnel matters of non-elected personnel from 2:35 to 3:05 with an open session, we're moving back at 3:05, and then we'll probably close the meeting. Have a second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, we'll be back at 3:05.
This conference will now be recorded.
Tina, do you have any, out of executive session, no decisions? Tina, do you have any more business, anything you need to catch up on?
I don't believe so. I have a signature that I need from you, Randy, for
Okay.
the shared leave request.
And then remind everybody tomorrow at 12:30 for conference meeting with Wichita State again.
Yes.
Other than that, I'd make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Same sign? No?